So I'm back, and I'm here to show you the advanced or the progress that I made. So this is another neutralish kind of background. I know it doesn't look too much right now, and that is what I intended. Like you can see, this was actually, I'll show you. Sorry, I had some sort of a scrap paper like this, and I just collaged on top of this, and yeah, I do this all the time, and this is why my husband also brings me some scrap papers that they generate at the office sometimes. Otherwise, there's enough leftovers from some sort of a document that has been delivered, which has no relevance now and stuff like that. So I used one of those pages, and you can see how neutral and plain it's looking, but that's what is intended. I do intend to keep it this way because now things will be easier for me to get going. And I will show you how now these are going to be, again, I have dug into my scraps and gathered up more papers like this. So I'm going to move this away in a tub of sorts. Just a minute. So I'm going to keep them in a tub like this, where it will be easy for me to dig into and see. I will try to find out more neutralish kind of scraps that can be used, and trust me, even these strips will get used up eventually. So I'm not going to waste any of these, and the embossing tip has been liked by so many of you, and because if you add embossed paper to your project, sometimes what happens is a little bit of texture or a little bit of other dimension adds so much more to your projects. So this is what it is. So this is my bin that I'm going to use, dig into, and now I'll go through the ones that we had created. So this one I did create while I was filming, but there were some that I did not film, and I think those were these ones. So there are quite a few of these. So as you can see, they look pretty blank, but that's the intention. I can put anything on top of this. In this case, probably I'll be using some floral elements. I will share. So I do have some more neutral papers lying here and there. I will just gather it up. So I'll just, this also helps to clean up your scrap bin, by the way. So if I want, I can put something like this, but this is too big. Okay, so I will not be using something as big as this. Probably I will be going with something smaller or even smaller. So I'll show you. So sometimes what happens is that the kits come with ATC cards. The ATC cards are pretty small, and we cannot use them. We can use them, but sometimes we would like to have bigger journal cards to go into the pockets. So in that case, what you can do is, so this is one of the ATC cards that came with the kit that I'm working on, but basically it was one of the kits. I think this is called Cassie's Garden, sorry, something of that sort. So what I can do is I can just put it somewhere here, and you can see instantly how pretty it looks. Actually, this was the intention, to use up the ATC cards so that they will go well with the journal. So now if I put this, now of course it's going to have labels, lace bits, words, numbers, whatever, and it's going to be dolled up more, it's going to be jazzed up more. But instantly you can see, if I have a neutral background, this works better. So I don't want to put in any color initially, because that is because I don't know what kind of image I'm going to be using. So I will stick to the neutral backgrounds. And if I have a bigger card like this, then probably I'm going to use something like this. Okay, so I can use something like this, and then I can add a little bit of label, number. I can just tear around the edges a little bit. These are just some ideas. You don't have to do this. You can do it your way. But as I said, I'm a self-taught person. I always go with my instinct. And if it works, it's fine. If it is loved, then, well, I'm happy. And if it doesn't, then, of course, there are so many things that I've failed in my life. This is just going to be one of them. So so that's that. And this was just a long strip I had, which I just used up all these scraps. And even though they look very you know, not very put together, you can say, but once you start putting things down, like you have this butterfly image here. Now I want this butterfly image perhaps here, just to mimic this, you know. And then I can put a label, or I can simply cut it down to size. It depends how I want this to go. So these are the journal cards that I made, bases, not cards. They are not cards yet. And this was one of the neutral bases that I did. So I am going to show one of these in the video, and then I'm going to cut it down. And in the next part, you'll see how I have finished off these cards, because I need at least 20 to 25 of those cards. And then we're going to work on page edges, how I put together page edges and how that works. I have shown page edger ideas before. I don't know if you've seen it, and I don't exactly remember which video I did show that. I think along the way while I was working on some journal. Now this is also a very neutralish kind of paper, but I'm not going to go with the bigger sheets right away. I'm just going to trim off this portion and use up as much as possible. So I'm also working on another journal which Gail Schmidt, if oh my god, I butchered the name, Gail. I absolutely love her shop. It's called Shabby Cottage Studio, and I will try and link her shop below. I'm working on a project using some of her blue papers from that shop, and I will share that in the next video. So I'm working on 2-3 projects side by side, and yeah, I'm getting better at this, you can say. So so here I have, oh my god, okay, so here I have this this lighting is really weird, let me tell you. I will try and fix this, but I don't know how much I will be able to do this. So this is quite a big piece. Sorry guys. So when I'm working on a bigger piece of paper, I can comfortably go with a bigger piece, because they are going to be cut down. You won't be able to see them like this as a whole. So I will ink this part, but before that I need to, now not everything is going to be inked, mind you, because this is going to be a part of a bigger canvas, that is the A4 or the letter size paper. Okay, so I don't ink everything up in that case. When I'm working on a smaller panel of paper, that is either 4 by 6, 6 by 8, or whatever, your eyes tend to be more critical. They tend to figure out even the smallest bits, and then you can work with smaller bits. Then is the time when you should go with smaller pieces. Now that doesn't mean that you can't use bigger pieces, but so so when you're working on a bigger panel or a bigger piece, you can use bigger scraps and bigger pieces of paper, and that is advisable when you're starting off meaning when you're beginning the collage process. So it's easier this way. So if I do this over here, I will put another piece over here, which might not be as big but pretty big, and that's okay. So these will help me a lot because these papers are eventually be used up and as you can see, these have interesting things like either they have some lines, they have some designs, they have some images, something of interesting sort. So I can definitely use those. So I'm going to be using this way. Okay, so I hope you can see it here. So I usually start off doing the collage this way so that you don't start from one corner and then work towards it. Start working from either from the center or from the edges. That works best. And now I can use some embossed paper. Now this embossed paper doesn't look much right away. That's because it's absolutely stark white. Let me dig for my brush, and I'm going to just ink it up a little bit. Okay, so you can see the magic happen. So if I want this to get a little bit darker, then I can just press a little bit harder, and I am pressing pretty hard because I want this image to stand out. And I might not use it as a block itself, or I might have not decided that, but in any case I will have to ink this. So you can see how it stands out. So using embossed paper in your collages is a very cool idea. They definitely add texture and interest to your project. So I'm going to place it at the center, so that more or less towards the center, so that I'm going to push this like so, because I want this I am pretty quirky about things like this. I don't want to say that I'm not, but I just want to fix this and then this, and then what I'll do is I'll take this, because I've not inked at the edges. I will go over this brush a little bit so that it sort of blends into this background. Nothing will stand out. Okay, so that's done, and now we need to work on some other areas, and this time I will be going with smaller scraps, but like this. Now I'm not going to glue anything down right away, so I might not use these. They are too small. and I will be going with this scrap. This is pretty big. I could have used it in something else, but it is pretty muted and I would use it this way. So this can be used in this way. Again, I'm moving this on this side, so probably I'm going to move it this way. And this one I'm going to ink this a little bit. Okay, so because if I ink this, then that means I want this to lay on top of the something that's going to go in, and I'm not going to glue it right away. Okay, so now I will dig into more scraps, but they are pretty smallish kind of thing. So can use this. It's okay, can be used. Okay, so I will probably not ink this up this side because this is going to be covered with something else. So what I'll do is I'll just lay this down. This might look a little bit weird, but I'm not going to take it towards the end, because towards the end I can place something else. Okay, so I can put this. So this is how you can bring a kind of semblance to your collages. So I might not use this entire bit. Okay, so I can use this much, and I will use this somewhere here, and this will go somewhere here. Okay, so there will be 3 bits scattered all around. Okay, and then I have this, so I can place this over here. Now I'm not going to glue everything down because I've laid down the major pieces of the puzzle, and then I'm just going to move around these small items. I have this blue scrap. I can use it somewhere here. Okay, so this can be used here, and I can use this here. Okay, so I need something over there. Okay, let me see. So let me show you the tub that I'm digging into. So I have this paper. This was actually a part of my Patreon benefits, and I have this part. I had printed this out because I wanted to see whenever I'm creating anything digital. I know everybody does this. I always test print so many times on so many different kinds of papers. Let me look for my pair of scissors. It seems to have gone for a walk. No, it is here. So I'm going to be using this. See, this is a little bit dark, so I'm going to be using this, and then I might use this. Okay, and I also have this, remember, this other part of the paper. So I'm going to just trim this off. I'm not going to put any more blue over here. I'm going to tone it down. So if I put it over here, okay, so I can put it, okay, so it can be put down that way, and then I can put this over here. Okay, and then I still have this big bit left, and I'm just going to trim this off. And in this process, trust me, I've used up so much of scrap. So the scrap has generated journal cards, you can say scrappy journal cards. So I'm going to trim this in 2 parts because I'm going to move this. See, we have this over here and I want something to balance out, so I'm going to put that there. I might not use this at all. This is looking too cluttered, so okay. And then I might use a little bit of embossed paper there, and here I can use something else, something else, which is okay. So we can use something like this. Okay, so now we're going to finish this off. I'm not going to ink everything, as I said. Let's start gluing this down. Okay, so we'll start from this corner, and after I have cut this down, I'm going to stitch the pieces at certain places, not at all places, and then I'm going to stitch around it. So this is going to go in. I don't want too much of blues and violets. Okay, and this can go in here. As I said, I don't want too much of blues and violets, so but I also need to use these up. Eventually you'll see so much of it is going to get covered up, so we'll work on this later on. Now we're going to glue this part. So I hope my previous video was something that you could be inspired by. I don't intend to teach something. I just want to inspire you people, because we have so much of resources around. No one can be honestly, no one can be claimed to be a teacher. It's so many of us trying to do our best. So this is kind of, so I'm changing things up, but I also don't want this over here, so I want this over here. Okay, and I also want this over here. So yeah, so if you are new to my channel, you might not know that I do have a background in art, and after I got out of school, out of college and stuff like that, and when I got married, I had my son. I did not paint, draw, whatever you can say, anything, you know, for I think close to 30 years. Yeah, close to 30 years. I know it sounds, you know, very strange, but it is what it is. I stopped, basically, you know, I didn't have the time. So I've changed things up, as you can see. I didn't have the time, and honestly, I was so busy with my son, bringing my son up. My husband used to be away most of the time because of his job and super busy. So I was the one who was left with all the so I'm just using this bit. So I was the one who was taking total care of him. So I was also at that point of time, up to a certain point of time, I was also working in a school. I was teaching. So but eventually, when my son reached I think he reached 8th grade, yeah, I left my job. One reason being that I wanted to devote more time to my son, because you know, when you're teaching in a school, you have to stay, you have to follow certain parameters, you have to devote certain time to your job, which was, you know, sometimes getting difficult, because even though schools used to be on holidays or vacations or whatever, but teachers had to go to school, and I didn't have anyone to look after my son, and we didn't have so much of daycare system where I live, so it was difficult. And I decided to give up my job, and my husband was still working, and he was mostly away from home. And then he decided to come back. You know, he chose a job which was closer home, and it was quite a struggle for us, like you know, starting for him also, like um you know, it was kind of a setback in certain ways, but then we decided that it's best to stay as a family together instead of having this sort of a situation. So that's what we did. And now, when my son was in university, I started painting and crafting again, and then I started making junk journals and stuff like that. So anyways, long story short, we have finished this. So now I can cut this up according to our requirement. I'm not going to cut this up right away because I need to see how many ATC cards I have and how I'm going to layer that up. And hopefully I'll gather things up, and I will be back to show you, like the previous one. I will do a fast forward sort of video where I'll put on some music. I will just give you a little bit of narrative so that you can catch on what I'm planning on doing. So this will be that. And yeah, so in the next video, probably I just want to show you a sneak peek. So Gail, if you're watching this, uh, uh, please watch the next one also, where I talk about how I'm putting together this journal. So here I have another basket full of um, thingies. That's something else that I don't want. Okay, so here I have these things gathered up, some lace bits, some file folders, some papers, and these are all in blue tones. This is going to be a mini flip flap kind of journal. I've already filmed a part of this, so I'll probably intermingle this, like you'll be able to see this one, and then that will be followed by the next one, so you'll get to see a lot of these kind of videos. And also I'm going to show you another one where this has been worked on. I mean, I have already started working on that, but the system that I worked this in, I will show you from the scratch because I've already filmed that, and I just need to do a voiceover and edit and stuff like that. So that's going to follow very soon. There's going to be lots of videos coming. So I have plans of putting together a schedule whereby you'll see regular videos. And also, please everybody, it's an appeal to everybody, if you want to support me and support this channel, if you like this channel, then please subscribe to this channel, hit the like button. And if you want to support me more in my journey as a journal maker, um, then please, you can support me through buy me a coffee. It's not buying a physical cup of coffee, but it's just a virtual cup which you pay for, and that's a kind of donation that I get. And also you can join my Patreon. There's lots of new things that are coming up this year. First of all is that the Patreon, as a part of Patreon benefit, you get a physical journal according to the tier that you choose, and that can be at a certain what do you call it, interval. Like you can get a physical journal at the after each 3 months, or you can get it every 3-4 months. It's like this. And also you are eligible to an exclusive Patreon digital papers, which are not going to be listed in my shop as it is. They are either going to be, they are going to be a little bit different. But if you want, you can build a journal. Like if I'm releasing a set of journal papers for my Patreon, I also sort of build a paper set very close to that for my shop. So if you buy that paper kit from the shop and you have the Patreon kit also, you'll have a huge bundle to work on. So that's the idea that are coming up, and hopefully you people will be sticking around to see the changes this channel and everything that will have in 2022. So wish me luck, and thank you everybody for watching this. And I'll be back to show you how I cut this down and use some ATC cards that will coordinate with this and make more journal cards to go for that trifold journal we are working. Okay, so thank you everybody. Bye. Have a great day, but keep watching for the rest of the video. So I'm back to show you how they look after I have stitched around those pages. And what I realized was that since I'm going to cutting it down into quarters, so I'm just scoring that from middle, and then I'm going to trim it down to 4 sections so that it's easy for me to handle those. I did not stitch all around the edges initially, because after I have layered on them, I'm going to be putting down necessary images, and then probably I'm going to do the stitching towards the end. So I'm just not going to bore you through all these processes, but this is another trick that I will show you, how to reuse your scraps by using stencils. So here I'm using a scrap of paper, and I'm just laying down a script stencil that I have, and I'm just using some distress oxides. And then again I'm using another stencil by Tim Holtz, and I'm just layering on top of that very lightly, if you notice carefully. So now I have these papers ready to be used in some layering project or the other. So that tiny scrap, what you see on my right hand side, is the list of ephemera that I will be requiring. So I'm just trying to initially work on the ephemera that would go inside the folder, and then I will work on the ephemera that I will have to put inside the journal itself. So I'm just trying to straighten, or just cut the edges a little bit nicely so that they fit into the pockets. And so this is the large journal card that would go inside the middle pocket, and I also need to figure out 2 small tags that would go inside these envelope kind of pockets. Those are like coin envelopes, and here I'm just trying to gauge what size I would like to put inside that window envelope. I decided that I'm going to use that later on. So now I'm going to work on these journal cards and just layer things up so that I can use them. So now when I'm filming this, it's pretty late at night, and my voice is getting a little bit sore because I had been taking a lot of classes today, and today had been a very busy day. So I'm just going to put on some music sometimes and just let this go on, because there's nothing much to talk about. I just have some random papers that I will be using. So these are some scraps I have which I'm going to use while layering, and also you will see the process. So there's nothing much to explain, so let's keep the process as simple. And whenever there is the necessity of explanation, I will definitely do that. So that's how it is. So keep watching. So a lot of these stuff are from my watch points, and some are from my stash, and I will be using this lace as an extra element, layering element you can say. And I had a piece of this lace tea-dyed. I have used it up since then. Now I will probably stain this with a little bit of distress outside. And this netted fabric that I am showing along with the white lace fabric is actually handmade. So I had bought that a while back. I have used it in quite a few projects, but it was pretty very not very expensive one, but it is handmade, and I just bought it by yard. It was like a huge piece that they had cut this from my lace supplier, because I have said that before. I have a fixed person who supplies or gets the laces for me, and sometimes he just calls me when he has a new stash or when he has some good stuff coming over. He gives me a call, and then I go and visit him at his workshop. So I'm just layering things up. This is very simple, very nothing extraordinary. Most of us do this. So I'm just not going to do a lot of voiceover. I'm just going to keep the music on, and so that you can watch this layering process, or how I do this. getting towards the end of this layering process, and this is the last card that I will do for this session, and the rest of the cards I'll do off screen, off camera, and I will just post an update in the next part that you will see while I work on this folio, not folio exactly, but a folder. And also I will show you how I will start the journal itself, because I've already managed to choose the papers, cut them down to size. So this is how the cards are looking, and I'm pretty happy with the way things have shaped up. So thank you everybody for watching this, and if you are not yet a subscriber to my channel, then please think of subscribing, and if you are a subscriber, then thank you for hanging around. It means a lot to me, and bye, have a great day.